Hello folks, welcome to the Boneyard Slash YouTube network, home of the Hillbilly Cooking Network. We're up here at the cabin on the side of a mountain in the Kiamichi Mountains, Honobia, Oklahoma. Was debating on whether to make this video or not. As you can tell, it's dark, it's night. Got my little campfire going over here. There's Campfire. You can see behind me here. You see the window to my cabin. Wife's in there. She's reading a book. Stars are out. That's where a lot of things happen right here, sitting around this fire. And, you know, people say you're looking for Bigfoot. No, I don't go looking for Bigfoot. I get out there and mind my own business usually. He come find me, and I wasn't even wanting him to. But anyway, I told my wife, I said, I guess I'm gonna make a video about a campfire if it'll show up, if you're not just looking at a black screen, you know. She said, we do that, she said, because I want to watch it and look in the shadows, see if something comes up there behind you. Because over here to my right, it goes up the mountain. So I usually sit here with my back to the mountain looking down the mountain. And usually the rocks or whatever comes from behind me. But I'm just sitting here kind of sideways right now. Before we get going on this deal, remember folks, there's only two things you need in this life to survive. That's Jesus and a 45. No matter what's going on, no matter how much you don't like situations in the world or your life, God's in control. Lean on Jesus, talk to him. Promise you, best friend you'll ever have. He won't leave you. Just give it a shot. But anyway, Jesus in the 45. If for some reason you don't have a 45, a 357 will do. 357 Magnum wheel gun right there. That's a wheel gun. Got a good barrel on it. Got a big hole right there. See that? 7 shots. Ain't no 6-shooter. That's a 7-shooter. I'm serious. It really is. It's 7 shots. Anyway, 357. Mountain lions, bears, crackheads. 357. That ain't for the Bigfoots. That's for other critters or people that want to be a problem. Anyway, I was sitting out here earlier just listening for wood knocks or hoops or howls, and still got a few crickets and tree frogs singing. Wind's died down right now, but it kind of comes and goes. You can hear for a long ways up here on the side of this mountain, all down the valley down in front of me. You can hear. I've heard howls from coyotes, wolves, Bigfoot, estimated 4 miles away at least, somewhat, anyway, from the best we can tell. But yeah, the sound carries a long ways from down the valley up down here. I can tell when stuff is close. But I was sitting out here drinking some coffee, enjoying the night air. Stars are out, bright. I don't know if you can see there's a star right above the cabin up there, right up in that corner. But anyway, but you can see my window there. I've got the shade up right now. Lights on, wife's reading a book. If you was squats, you could see pretty good just right up here on the side of the mountain behind me, looking down there through that window. If we had TV going, it's right on the opposite wall. If you had a CD in there or a DVD playing. But anyway, I was sitting out here drinking coffee, thinking, well, I don't think a video would show up too good. Be kind of dark. Be talking, you could listen, I guess. But anyway, and then I hear a wood knock. Yeah. I don't have this on, it's not recording, so you know, I thought, well, dang, wish I had it on, everybody could have heard it. It was fairly loud, coming from the west, which is that way. It's around the mountain, and up a little higher. But anyway, And I sat here and thought about it. Throwed another log on the fire. So I didn't hear nothing last night. Anyway, and I hear a little rustling up the mountain there to my right. Could have been anything, deer, coon, who knows. And then back directly behind me, between me and the cabin, as you can see, cabin's not far away. Between me and the cabin, I've got 4 kayaks and a canoe. And they're to the right here at the base of the mountain. I got them propped up on a rack, lined up, propped up on a metal rack, and turned upside down so the water don't get on. I'm debating on whether to make a video or not. And one of them kayaks moved. None of them ever moved before. I mean, the wind don't blow not hard enough to move them. I mean, moved just a little bit. I heard it. I turned my light on, shined over there. Nothing's over there. This kayak moved by itself. Something moved that I couldn't see. I don't know. But anyway, so that's well. I'm gonna go make a video. There may not nothing else happen the rest of the night. But anyway, we might not make this too long. I don't know. But fire's going. Had a little action before I turned it on. Still hear a little rustling up the mountain every now and then beside me. If a rock flies down there and hits me in the head, you'll know what happened. But anyway, it's kind of cool. It's probably in the 60s right now. It's supposed to be down to 50, I think, tonight. But while we're sitting here listening for things, we'll just tell you a little short story. My old buddy Scott Boykin, he's got a cabin, some property on around the mountain from here, and his friends and family's got some land down on Little River. We're down in the river valley, right on the river. But anyway, my buddy Scotty, he's kind of on the fence about the Bigfoot thing. Sometimes he thinks about it and it's real, and then sometimes he thinks, that's not, it can't be. Sometimes, he has doubts. He's not convinced. He needs to see one, he says. But don't know if he wants to see one. But anyway, Scotty said, I like to think that they're vegetarians. So, well, partially they are. But anyway, several years ago, it was deer season. It was deer season. Had his wife Jill take him out to the deer stand side by side down here in Little River, down here on their place. And it was in the evening. He said, "Come get me." Right dusky dark, right after dark. The sun's shooting, lights gone. Come back up here and get me, because she dropped him off, went back to the house, and property adjoining his, one fella over there on this other property, a few hundred yards away to the property line, hunting. And he's met the people. Scotty's a sociable guy. He's over there, he's met the folks, he knows who's hunting, when they're hunting, all this stuff. They're nice, and Scotty's, he's easy to talk to, because he'll talk to you, I'm telling you. But anyway, and he has heard this guy show up over there. He's heard his four-wheeler around the mountain, around the edge of the mountain there where he's at, and through the woods. Anyway, and it's getting late. It's dusky dark, and it's almost dark. And he hears the guy's four-wheeler crank up. Hears him. Man, he's gone. He leaves his deer stand. He hears him going down around where their place is. Anyway, and he said just a few minutes after this dude left, he hears a tree knock right over there where that dude was hunting. Like right there. He said, man, right there in the vicinity where his stand is. Whack. Something hit the tree. Unmistakable, he said. He said, I would have had some doubt, because now he's thinking, hey, that dude's gone. He's hunting by himself. He's gone. It's getting dark. Something just whacked a tree. I wish Jill would hurry up and get here and pick me up. And he said he was a little concerned. Yeah, he said, I'm telling you, he said, I was a little concerned. He said, finally, he said, I think Jill's ever going to get there. And she waited till it was past dark and come and got me finally, you know. I had to get this straight about right at dark. Cause anyway, he didn't take him long to get out of that stand, get in there, and get back to the house. But anyway, he said, still, you know, not convinced, and I don't try to convince him. I just tell him what I see and hear and such as that. But anyway, when that tree knock happened, there for a second, yeah, he was a believer just for a little while. But anyway, he's still not totally sold on the deal, and that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But buddy Scotty, love him to death. He's the reason I started coming up here. Coming up here, kayaking with him, hunting lease, such as that. Love him to death. Love him to death. But he made me spend a lot of money up here, because after I started coming up here with him, I had to buy a place, build me a cabin. So thanks, Scotty. But anyway, that's just a little bit of stuff right there. But talked to a lady who lived up here all her life. She was talking about her daddy, and several years ago had killed a big deer, and too big for him to drag. I don't know how old the fellow was at that time. Best I can figure, maybe late 50s, 60s. Anyway, she said her dad had walked in there, and he had went to get the four-wheeler. I don't know how long it took him. I just listened to her tell some stuff. But anyway, he went and got the four-wheeler. If you hunt up in these mountains, sometimes it takes you, if you're walking, take a little while to walk up and down these mountains, I promise you. Went and got the four-wheeler. When he got back, this big deer was gone. Hadn't been drug off. Wasn't no drag marks. Wasn't it's like something picked it up and carried it off. She said this thing, she said he wasn't sure if he could even get it onto the four-wheeler once he got his four-wheeler there. He thought he might have to go get some help to put it on it. But he said it wasn't, if you're a hunter and you kill deer, you can tell if a deer has been down and if they got up or if they crawled away or scooted off, especially if they hit good. But this deer was dead. He done made sure it was dead. Walked over to it trying to drag it and said he gonna leave it there. Come back, it's gone. Even a big cat, the biggest thing in these mountains, according to the game wardens and stuff like that, biologists, which I don't trust neither one of them, but it's supposed to be a mountain lion or a big cat. Big yellow cats they got up here, panthers. Some of them black, some of them yellow. And even they aren't going to carry a big deer off. They may drag it over somewhere and, feast on it, but they're not going to just pick it up out the air and pick it straight up and take off. But I said it was just gone. And there's some other stories some people up here have told me. They've lived here all their lives, and I listen, and I don't put any names with them unless I ask them first. Another friend of mine was telling me about his brother-in-law many years ago up here. Went to round up some cows up here in these mountains. And up there, coming down the mountain there, herding some of these cows that wandered around, gotten out of where they should be. And he was coming down around the ridge. He said a rock big as a softball, maybe a grapefruit, hit the tree beside his head and just exploded. You know, some of these rocks are pretty soft up here if you hit them real hard. Sandstone, stuff like that. But anyway, he said just pow, flying through there. Wasn't trying to hit him, or they would have. Just wanted him out of that area, evidently. But anyway, he kind of had his doubts too. After that, he was a believer. But anyway, up there by himself, a huge rock comes and hits a tree beside him while he's on his horse. But now the leaves have changed. They're looking pretty. Wind blows and they fall off. You'll hear leaves falling. But most folks been out in the woods, no difference between falling leaves and footsteps. So, or an animal shuffling around. I haven't heard my kayaks move anymore. I've never heard them move before now either. I've been up here for years with them, always stack them in the same spot. I've been in the cabin at night and it sounded like something hit the bottom of the canoe or the kayaks, because they're upside down, like something just like a one hard hit, like a drum. Boom! I can't replicate it. I've tried. I've come out the next day and hit them as, you know, I got a fairly good sized hand, and you know, without just hurting my hand, I've hit them, tried to replicate the sound, but just can't been able to do it. But of course, if you go look, ain't nothing there. But anyway, well, I imagine by the time I turn this video off, I'll hear something interesting. Hear a truck down in the valley going down through there. Sound carries a long, long ways. Especially when the air is cold. Cold air carries sound. Some of y'all probably know that. My fire here, before I leave this fire, if it ain't burnt plumb out and there's usually some coals left, I've got a big metal dome that sits right on top of that dude. That way I don't have to worry. Fire is serious business up here. You gotta be careful, folks, seriously. This all mountain timber country, lots of trees. They log it. This is logging country, and they replant, and that stuff grows back. Been logging these mountains for 150 years, and there's a bunch of trees here. I'm telling you, these people know how to replant, grow. Weyerhaeuser owns a bunch of this. There's other companies, but heard a knock. I don't know if video picked it up or not. It was up the mountain. Good ways off though. picked up. And that wind's blowing light. I mean, you can't hear nothing except the leaves blowing when it blows a bunch. Just like coon hunting, folks. I did a lot of coon hunting in my life. That wind's blowing hard, and we used to not go because, if your dogs get out away from you, that wind's blowing, you can't hear your dogs, which way they're going, which way they're running. You lose them real easy. A light breeze, okay, that's cool. Something walking around up to my left, to my right, up the mountain, up that way. Try not to point. Anyway, it's probably a deer coon. Y'all listen to this again. Sometimes you pick up sounds on your audio that you don't, you can't hear with your ear while you either talking or just listening. Sometimes this will pick it up and we can't hear it. What I'm using is not the best in the world, but one of these days I'll get me some infrared or something. I'm not trying to get no picture, not trying to see nothing. This is just what I do. I just brought y'all into my world a little bit. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to prove nothing. I'm just bringing you into what I do when I'm up here on the mountain. I do a lot of this right here. Not sitting here talking to myself. Well, yeah, I do talk to myself, not out loud though. Yeah, sometimes I do. But sit around the fire with my wife, or family or friends. We'll sit around, sometimes by myself, sit around, just look at the stars. They're beautiful, they're out. Look at the stars. That's another thing. There's been some stuff up here we thought were stars, turned out not to be stars. Stars don't move left to right and up and down, up. Yeah. Sometimes you see two of them, they go together, become one. I'm not joking. Hey, 4 of us witnessed that one night. We was on the front porch. Yeah, we may or may not have been drinking, but we were. But that doesn't matter. We've been drinking a little Fireball. Amanda and Leslie and Brent, 3 of my kids. And it was like, I don't know, it's probably 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We've been listening to music, talking, having a big time. We do lots of talking, laughing. We have big fun up here, people. This is a great place. Most of the time, we don't have any cell service. It comes and goes. Some people have 0 cell service up here, so they don't feel the need to check their phones. But anyway, we were on the front porch and looking south toward the river valley and looking at the stars, and they were bright. And we see 2 orange lights, look like stars, a little brighter. And then they start moving toward each other. And like I said, there's 4 of us watching this. We all 4 see the same thing. They move toward each other, and then they become one bright light, and then it goes straight up and then disappears. And we all looking at each other and we're like, did you see that? Yeah, we saw it. Look at that. What was it? I don't know what that was. We all agreed that we don't know what that was. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's more. Any given night, I can walk out here and find something that's moving left to right, up and down. At some point during the night, I can look up in the sky and find that. I don't know. Seen strange lights. The Kiamichi Mountains, the Ouachita Mountains all come together over in this part of the world. And if you look up plane crashes for the last 100 years there's been several plane crashes up in these mountains, Kiamichi and Ouachitas. Some of them consider there's some kind of triangle up here that causes it. I don't know. I've just read articles about it. I don't know. I talked to one old man outside of Mena, Arkansas, at a little store, and he had a book. Man, I don't know. That sucker was probably 4 inches thick of newspaper clippings, old ones up to fairly current, of airplane crashes. And when he was in better health and younger, he would hike too. After they cleaned up these sites, these old plane crash sites, he would find out where they're at. And it might have been 40 years ago, and he would try to find these plane crash sites, and he found some of them, and some debris and stuff in these mountains. Hard to get to some of these places, but he was an interesting guy to talk to, and talked about the strangeness of the crashes in certain areas, and they were all within this triangular area over the Ouachitas and Kiamichis. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject right there. That's a whole nother deal. But yeah, I wish they could see these stars. They are bright and they're pretty. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna turn this off and hang out some more. See what I hear. If you hear something on this, shoot me a message. Say, hey man, I heard such and such at so many minutes into this deal. But anyway, Jesus under 45. Remember, folks, only 2 things you need to survive in this life. Jesus under 45. If you don't have 45, can't afford one, don't have one, get whatever you can. It don't matter. 357, 22, 38, whatever. Jesus in a 45 or 357 tonight. That ain't for the squatches. That's for the bears and the big cats. And the rare occasion you might run into somebody that means you harm. But anyway, lean on Jesus. Use that 45 if you have to. But I just thought y'all might want to see a different gun for a change. Anyway, we'll show this in the daylight sometime. I like it. Long barrel, I can hit stuff with it. Believe it or not, yep. That good long barrel. We're gonna do some more cooking too for too long. Sorry, shining my light over that way. Something moving real close to me there. You ain't supposed to shine your light at them Bigfoots, but I can't help it. If I hear something close to me, I can only stand it so long. I have to turn my light over that way. I didn't say I was brave, especially sitting out in the dark. But anyway, something approaching you. But anyway, yeah. A couple weeks ago, I got excited about an armadillo almost. It was coming straight at me, coming up the mountain. Yeah, armadillos make a lot of noise. I was pretty sure it was armadillo coon, something like that, because it was shuffling through there. Well, them armadillos make a lot of noise, and them dudes are coming straight at you. They're blind anyway. He didn't know he was coming straight at me. I'm standing out there in the dark. That dude's coming up the mountain, coming directly toward me, and moving along pretty quick. And yeah, I had to put a light on it to find out what it was. It was about 20 feet from me there. I finally turned it on as an armadillo. Yeah. Tell you some stories later about some guys who, hey, I'm just out here hanging out, listening, having fun. There's some people that are real serious about this, sitting in the dark in remote areas by themselves, and let them approach them close. And yeah, I'm not sure I'm cut out for that or not. They don't mean me no harm. I had no trouble with them. We just respect each other and go on. But yeah, anyway, when the rubber meets the road, you say, oh yeah, I'd do that. Rubber meets the road, We'll see. We'll see. I like to see what's going on around me. Jesus on 45. Well, if I come up missing, this is probably my last video. I hope my wife posts it. Jesus on 45. Catch y'all later.